Let's move to Laura Khan. She's in the Lebanese capital, Beirut. Laura, we're looking at the strike that's happened in the last several hours. What do we know about who the Israeli army was targeting there?
Well, this was a massive strike in the southern suburbs of Beirut. I can just tell you, I'm currently in the city centre in the heart of Beirut. This is about 7 kilometres south of here. It's an area that's been targeted time and time again. They believe, well, the Israeli media are currently reporting that a man named Hassan Nasrallah was targeted in an airstrike, in a number of airstrikes, which levelled many of the buildings. They seem to be very heavy bombs striking them. He was essentially going to be possibly next in line to be a leader. But just to roll back a few hours, we've seen around 20 airstrikes in and around Beirut in the last 24 hours. They have been striking the area pretty heavily. So many people are deeply concerned because there are around 1 million people displaced across the country. Many people came here to Beirut to seek safety. We've seen people sleeping out on the streets. We've seen people sleeping in the squares. Many others are taking over their hotels. So this is really deeply concerning. We've also seen plumes of smoke around the airport, and the main central airport is pretty much shut down. So we also know that the Israelis are not only targeting Hezbollah members and military infrastructure, but also other types of infrastructure. About 25 kilometres southeast of here, they targeted a communications tower. This belonged to a TV network that was associated with Hezbollah, and another building in the early hours of Thursday morning, right here in the heart of Beirut, where they targeted a medical facility, killing 9 medics, essentially, and they were also affiliated with Hezbollah. So they're really branching out in targeting not only Hezbollah members, but anyone associated with them.
Laura, given that the Israeli army the military appears to be branching out, as you say, both geographically and in terms of targets, has Hezbollah responded? Have they issued any statements today regarding these strikes and the targeting of their members and again, the widening geographically of those strikes?
Hezbollah has so far said absolutely nothing. It's only Israeli media that's been reporting the targeting of Hassan Nasrallah. Now, he was pegged to be the next leader of Hezbollah. This was after Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah for more than 3 decades, was killed on the 27th of September in Dahiya by Israeli strikes. They were buster bombs really getting deep into the tunnels there. It was very surprising for many that the Hezbollah leaders were still in Dahiya, considering this is an area heavily targeted, and it was also targeted during the 2006 war between Israel and Hezbollah. So surprising for many that they were still there. And of course, Hassan Nasrallah was killed. Now, we know that Hassan Nasrallah is his cousin. He has very close familial ties, a very close relationship with Nasrallah. So many did peg him to be the next in line. And he is also in charge of the political affairs. He's part of the Shura Council. So he is an incredibly important member. So we're still waiting for any kind of confirmation from Hezbollah.
And Laura, just to look a little bit more broadly at what is happening in Lebanon, Hezbollah is saying that it has killed 17 Israeli soldiers in clashes along the border in the south. What more do you know about what's happening there? Can you bring us up to speed?
Yes, absolutely. This has been happening in the south. Now, around 30 kilometres south of the Litani River has been considered to be a buffer zone, a demilitarised, UN-designated buffer zone. And a lot of the fighting has been happening within that and very close to the Israeli border. We know that Hezbollah has been fighting since Wednesday, the Israelis face-to-face for the first time. We know that there have been fatalities. Hezbollah hasn't yet stated how many fatalities they have had, but the Israelis have issued evacuation orders for people along those border areas, but also past the Litani River, far north of that, far north of this UN-designated demilitarized zone. So people are obviously incredibly scared, considering there's been more than 110 strikes by the Israelis across the country, specifically in the south. So we're seeing this big movement of people coming from the south. And one of the most disconcerting things is how many medics have been targeted in this. We're looking at 28 medics killed in the past 24 hours, 55 since the hostilities really heated up in the past couple of weeks. So the WHO, the World Health Organization, has issued a statement saying they're becoming incredibly concerned. And the local Lebanese representative has said that medics are terrified of saying this, so we may well see the collapse of a health system, the collapse of any kind of medical infrastructure in the south that can help anyone who's been caught up in this fire, or any civilians who might be caught up. So this, of course, is an incredibly worrying time for an already incredibly fragile infrastructure.